Hi, welcome back. We're wrapping up chapter 6 and then 7 next week. And you know the rest. Okay. I tend to repeat myself a little bit, don't I? Part 2. The last section we covered why businesses succeed, why they fail, things you can do to prevent that from happening, learning from others, how to gain experience from people who've walked a mile in those shoes before. I saw something too from another source. I thought I'd mention it. This falls under the category of common sense advice from somebody who's been involved in small business. And the person said basically one of the reasons, or 4 reasons that this person said that he had issues with small businesses failing were, number 1, making the wrong hires. That applies to big businesses too, by the way. Lack of a solid marketing plan. That's very true. Now, your marketing plan is like your business plan. That's something it's a living, breathing document that you should be getting input from other people on. We're going to talk about marketing to a great extent. Again, I think it's one of the better chapters in the book. So we'll get into that in some detail and some good case studies with that too. Ineffective team management, and then the last one is poor communication from the top. And that's, from a practical standpoint, I always found the best bosses I had to work with were those who were the great communicators, the ones you felt, first of all, you felt most at ease talking to. And secondly, the ones that you could really have, you were on the same page. The gears meshed quickly and you could communicate. And the more of that, the best levels of communication I had with the boss, not coincidentally, were the best bosses I had. And so something to take into consideration when you're looking for jobs and interviewing. The other thing too is if you're out selling, this is personal experience too. I think as I got further along, and my career was partly marketing and it was partly sales, and from a sales standpoint, salespeople talk too much. I'm sorry, plain and simple. Boom. They have a tendency to talk more than they ought to. Case in point is once the customer says, okay, I've decided to buy, bring me the contract, that's a good time to shut up. You don't need to say anything else. The customer already told you the only reason this dance took place is because you're trying to get them to buy. And once they say they'll buy, you could just simply say, thank you very much, I'll be back with the contracts. And if you have other pleasantries, fine, but you don't need to just go on and on and on about it. So there's that. And that ties into something categorically I found to be true in my sales career, which is when I went into a meeting, the less I said, the better the meeting. Let the customer do most of the talking. Go into the meeting with a very well-prepared list of questions to ask the prospective client. Because the point is you really can't match up your solution to the client unless you really understand what the client's interest or the potential client's interested in, right? I mean, so get the person to talk to that. I mean, typically for me, like I say, most of the effort went in pre-meeting, and I would have a list of questions that I would ask, what I would call qualifying questions. Because if you get into sales, you'll find your biggest time waster will be working on deals where you didn't qualify it properly, where you're spending time chasing business that really there's no fit there. You're trying to fit, the round peg into the square, whatever. Don't do that. That wastes their time and yours, okay? So, I mean, I would go in and say, hi, I'm Bill Gallagher from XYZ company. Other companies in your industry, ABC and EFG companies, we've done great successes for. They've had these issues, and we addressed them this way. Crisp. Make it as crisp as you can. And then ask, say, do you suffer from any of these issues? Are these issues that affect you too? Because they appear to be issues that affect the industry as a whole. And if the answer is yes, Could you give me more details? Oh, okay, great. And let the conversation flow naturally, but get them talking as much as you can. People like to talk. I like to talk. Right? You know that by now. But like I said, in a sales meeting, the less I say, the better the meeting. Have good questions to ask and let them run with it. And let them take the conversation where they want to. I mean, you'll find when you meet with people that some people just want to get straight down to brass tacks. Okay, I got 30 minutes. Tell me about your company. Tell me about your solution. Go. And you got to be ready. Boom, 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 boom. Thank you for your time. We'll circle back with you. Look forward to having another meeting. Other people just want to kind of get to know you and your company, and it's really more of they look at it as a relationship circumstance. And as with any relationships, you kind of want to get to know the other entity better. And I mean, one deal I got, we spent 5 minutes talking business, and 40 minutes she wanted to talk about her vacation trip to Europe. And let the river flow. Don't stop the train. If this person wants to talk about the vacation trip, or a guy will start going down the path of his hunting trip with his buddies to West Virginia. Again, let the river flow. Don't derail the train when it's running. And if the person is clear, this guy was enjoying talking about the trip, that's part of the relationship. Just patiently sit there, and I don't know anything about hunting, but I knew a little bit about geographically West Virginia, and I could talk about certain areas. Oh yeah, that's near this town, and that type of stuff. And it's relationship building, but take your cues from good old fashioned common sense. Like I said, some people get straight to it. Other people, more the relationship type of stuff. So be a good communicator. Okay, the last section of Chapter 6 talks about financing your small business. Okay, so they talk about, the options that they present in the chapter, which are, in fact, good ones, but not limiting yourself to it, especially in this day and age. Family and business associates, the first one they mention, banks, savings and loans, credit unions, do business lending to some extent. Again, credit unions are very limited in the amount of business lending they can do, so they're not really the best option. They could do a little bit of small business lending, but not that much. They're supposed to be individual lenders. You hear about VCs, venture capital people, and if they really like your idea, they may help fund it, but they will want a piece of the action. They'll want an ownership stake in your company. So then you have to make the tough decision. Whereas a small business loan, that pretty much comes with the understanding that you get to run the business as you see fit. You just have to repay. You're just expected to repay the loan. VCs want to be more active, and they want to be part owners. So they'll invest, and they tend to have looser purse strings. Okay, they tend to fund on a bigger scale than an SBA loan. But again, you're selling part of your business away. And then, of course, the traditional SBA path, which I've put lots of information on. So the closing sections, I'm just going to summarize, and then we'll talk about it on Zoom because we're pushing 10 minutes here. The closing sections: know your customers, number one. Manage your employees. Okay, that's the intellectual capital that they bring may be your most valuable asset. Okay, that may be your big differentiator. Keep excellent records. Okay, people come, people go, but the records, if you're not tracking this stuff, you potentially could be in trouble. And also seek out help. Like I mentioned, in my case, it was finding the person with one foot out the door, who really wasn't afraid to tell you how things were and what was what, and I was extremely grateful for their guidance. So look for those type of mentors. So That takes us to the 10-minute mark, and we'll wrap up Chapter 6 as far as the videos are concerned, and we'll see you on Zoom. Thanks.